Hi, Jeff Rhodes here with another video on Microsoft 365, and this is actually my 100th video on this channel, so thanks for joining me. And we're going to talk about agents inside of SharePoint. And there's two ways these can work. I'll show you what I think is the most useful first, but if I click this example site, you can see it takes me to a page, and I can say new agent, and it'll base it on really the page that you're on and stuff. So I can open this agent, and it'll take a second, but I can ask things about the page. I didn't have that much on this page, so it's not all that useful, but we'll get back to it. I'll show you something that's more useful. One thing that got me tripped up just a little bit, I first tried samples, which is another one on my SharePoint site, go way back from my first book, and this is in kind of the classic format, and notice that I couldn't do anything with on the site itself. But one thing just to know, if I go to the document library, I can do an agent on the document library. So the one I did was in a separate spot, so I'll show you. So I can do that, and I think that's actually the best use case of this. So let me jump back to my example site. So I'll show you the one I created, and then I want to try to create a new one about health insurance and see if I can get it to give me some useful stuff. So here's what I did. I went to the documents library, and what I did is I opened up, or I added both the original version of my book, my Office 365, and then my version 2, we changed Office 365 to Microsoft 365. And then we have this agent, and I didn't quite realize it, so I created another agent as well, but we can just kind of click on it over there. But the way, like I just showed you, the way you create it is you can just say, actually, I'm not sure where that add agent, maybe because I have one already. Oh, here it is, create an agent. So that's why I have two of them. But so what I did is I put, again, the whole text of the books. And so I thought, well, all right, let me see if I can exercise it a little bit. So I can say, tell me the difference between Power Apps, Power Automate, Power BI, and SharePoint. And what we're looking for is that it gets it out of both of those applications. So it's getting, again, version 1 of the book and version 2. So you can see it's doing some stuff there. And say, here's a breakdown, Power Apps, and notice it has the two features. The two references. That's the one is one of the books, and one is the other. So creating a help desk ticketing, automate flows for Power Automate, Power BI, and so forth. And again, if I click those, that's the Office 365, and then that's the Microsoft one. It gives us a nice little table and so forth. But let me exercise a little bit more, because one of the things that I got rid of in version 2 is I got rid of SharePoint Designer, I got rid of InfoPath, and I got rid of jQuery. I used to use a lot of jQuery, adding them into SharePoint page. So I might say, how might you use InfoPath, jQuery, and SharePoint Designer? And what I'm expecting it is to go to the Office 365 version of that and give me some information. So let's see. So again, it's giving me a little bit, it's referencing both books, but then if I go into, it says a routing application. If I look at this reference, oops, come on. That's having a little trouble showing me the reference right now. I think 2 is the Office 365 one. So it talks about using jQuery, SharePoint Designer, and yeah, with all in the office, so a combined use case and so forth. So in any event, what's really awesome about this functionality is that you can put the information, it's kind of, rather than going out like ChatGPT or Copilot, it's on its own where it could get it literally from anywhere. You can put the actual source material that's all that you wanted to reference and create an agent around that. And it used to need some sort of special, knew how to set it up with Copilot. Here, as long as you have the right licensing, then anybody can set one of these up very quickly. All you got to do is just put the documents in the library and say create agent. So because of that, let me show you what I downloaded. So I went to my insurance place. We have something called GIHA, and I got 3 PDF documents. So I just got the health benefit, health plan, and another benefit plan that has all this text in it and stuff. And then this third one that talks about like what's covered, how much the copay is and all this kind of stuff. So I want to see if I can upload these 3 documents and then start asking questions about my health coverage if something goes on. So let's try it. So what I want to do here, I'm going to go to Site Contents, and I'm just going to create a new document library. And I'll just make it blank. I'm going to call it, whoops, looks like I got caps lock on. Health plan, like that. And I'm going to upload files. I put them in my downloads. See if I can find those. Here we go. We got those 3 documents. And upload it. All right. And let's try create an agent. Notice it's previous video I showed you how you put the icon for the site. Notice that it has that on there in the interface. So that's kind of nice. So look, it didn't take very long. So what is the copay for a primary care visit? And I probably should need to tell them that I have the high plan. Let's see if it probably gives it both, because notice it says high and standard. They're different health plans. Let's see what it gives me. Yeah, $20. So we actually saw that. So I guess both of those have this. Oh, there's the high one and the standard. So I want to say I have the high plan. Please show that information only. All right, so $20 per visit, 35% coinsurance if it's out of network, and shows me which one of those happened. So let me say, is there any vision coverage? And again, while we're doing this, it's mainly the idea that you can put in the, complex rules and stuff and then query it and get all the information straight out of that and not have to like try to search and find the vision area of which document it is. So it looks like I have no charge for one routine eye exam per calendar year and additional benefits. Oh, that looks like that's children. So I don't actually have any benefit under the high plan. And again, it tells me which one of those I can go in and say. So let's just try that. So what about emergency room? All right, let's see, 15% co-insurance, blah, blah, blah. But this could be really important. And so oh yeah, it's emergency medical transportation. So maybe you can say, what if the ambulance service is out of network? So those of you who are outside the U.S., you probably don't understand all this stuff because you may probably have government-provided health care. But those of us who are inside the U.S., it can be, a pretty big bill, some of these things. So it says if it's out of network, 10% co-insurance after deductible. So air ambulance has to be medically necessary, blah, blah, blah. All right. So I think that you get the idea. I didn't want to spend a whole big time about this, but I see this as huge. I've said in other videos, what I think the best use of SharePoint is at this point, as opposed to using Teams and so forth, is read-only policies or other, agency or company-wide documents where we don't need to collaborate. You're just trying to get all the information out, make it available to everyone. And this really points towards a design of having a document library per type of documents or type of policies, or you can put all the key ones together and just search for all of them. But we don't mix it up with drafts or any other kind of stuff, and then it will come in and you can interact with it as an agent and get the information that you need. So I think this is pretty huge. I hope that you get some usefulness out of this. And I've seen some other videos where you got to set some stuff up as an administrator. When I just tried it, we have kind of the small business of this. It just worked right out of the box. So there may be something you have to turn on some of the bigger organizations. And put some comments down if you're running into that, and I can look up some stuff, maybe do another video. But hope this was helpful, and we'll see you next time. Thanks again.